Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video, we are going to take a close look at the Fuijtse, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, this mini PC I recently picked up. But this one is a little bit more powerful and also a little bit more expensive than the previous ones I've reviewed here on the channel. We live in an absolutely amazing time when it comes to emulation. It's just being bigger and better than it was before. So we know, or most people know, about the Raspberry Pi. But basically Raspberry Pi 3, but especially the 4 you see over here, is absolutely great piece of equipment you can play some old school retro games with. They build Pandora's boxes, or more like 2-player arcade sticks, and they even slap a Pi inside an arcade machine because it can play so much stuff. Super Console X, or better said, Emulation on an Android box, they have so many different versions of this. This is one of those latest models with some modifications. This is just your typical Android box, an S905 X3 to be exact, and with some modification with a fan for bed and cooling. But when you're looking at a device like this, you do have got a lot of potential for two-dimensional stuff. Think about the old school 8-bit, 16-bit, but you do have some limitations, what we don't have with the mini PC. Okay, so that brings me back to this machine. So the reason I picked it up, because this thing has quite some interesting new functionalities that we didn't have with previous models. In my previous video I also talked about this Lenovo. It's more like one of those other options. Okay, but this Lenovo version I'm having here is an i3 model. You also have maybe one with an i5 or maybe even with an i7, but of course it's going to be more expensive. I picked it up for €79, and the reason I wanted to have it so badly is I just want to see what it's capable of for the money. Because the Raspberry Pi or Super Console X are basically sometimes even expensive than this mini PC. We do have a lot of more stuff that we can play with it. But why did I pick this one up? It's very simple. I really love the form factor of this. So first of all, what we're going to get 3.0 ports over here. This thing comes of course with an on-off switch, and we also have a reset switch. But this thing even has the option to enter an SD card, and I think that is pretty damn cool. So if you can boot up, let's say from an SD card, you load up some Battlefield in it, you can basically plug it in and play games like this. It's not the best way in my opinion, but it's a fun way to do so. And also it even has a built-in drive, so you can just play some games if you want to use the Windows functionality. We're not going to talk about it because I want to mainly focus on the emulation part. Okay, another thing I really like about it, that this thing comes with a built-in power supply, that you need to only have a 2-pin, plug it in and you're ready to go. So then we also have an internal fan. It's not very nosy. We have a DVI. We're going to get the 2 USB 3.0 again, 2 USB 2.0. We have audio out, display out, RJ45 for internet connection. But unfortunately this thing doesn't have an HDMI port. But it doesn't spoil the fun. We do have these cheap plug-and-play things that converts the display port into an HDMI, and it works like a charm, including audio. Another thing you can get yourself is basically in kit. And what do I mean with the kit? So nowadays we have the option to get yourself a very nice case like this, and in the inside we're going to find stuff like 2 controllers, and they are ready to go. To show your high quality chemical PlayStation 2 controllers with a dongle, and inside we're going to get ourselves a hard drive. And what is very interesting with the Pauky pad, for example, we can just plug it in. You only need to add your stuff and you're ready to go. So that's very convenient if you ask me. It even comes with a very nice protection plush. You pay a lot for basically a couple of things. They even include some manuals to say how you need to add stuff, how you need to connect to the internet. But this is a more easy way to go to. Okay, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the specifications. It's not really super fancy, but this is one of the reasons I just picked it up. It's a little bit newer generation compared with my other reviews, and also it has more potential when it comes to maybe emulation. Another thing I personally really like about this is that besides it's a little bit thicker and bigger than the previous one, is that we do have a lot of options. Here you can see I can swap out the drive if you want to, but also on the other side we can just basically pull out this latch. Alright, so let's take a close look in the inside. Finally, I managed to remove the freaking valve at the top. But what you can see already over here, so this thing is coming with an SSD, so what you can do is load the Battlefield image through the USB and do a dual boot. But for now, if you just want to use this thing like a dedicated game machine, you can remove the SSD inside here and just place it with an SD or 2.5 drive. Another thing I really like is that we do have dual channel. It's going to be in total 8 GB of RAM. Of course, you can always try to upgrade it, but basically 8 GB is more enough so far I understand. But okay, so let's plug this thing back together, and yeah, let's plug it in my television and just see how good and what we can play with it. Okay, but for the people who didn't know, basically these PCs can play 8-bit, 16-bit era very well. So we're not going to test that. I just want to see from MAME, especially when it comes to some Killer Instinct, Tekken, stuff that is very hard to difficult or impossible to run on a lot of Super Console X devices, just to see what we can do with this mini PC. So let's check that one out. Okay, so with testing we're going to start from MAME Mortal Kombat 2. The reason is very simple. A lot of Pandora's boxes do have issues with this. And we do have some Super Console X devices that will run it okay, but again, it's going to be like a mixed performance depending on what kind of model. Oh crap, searching my buttons here. But here you can see like it runs very well. Yeah, Baraka, block that. Alright, so moving on to Killer Instinct. A game I have noticed a lot of people were requesting it, like if it runs on a Pandora's box, but nope, it doesn't work on the Pandora's box, and also a lot of issue with the Raspberry Pi number 4, so... And the mini PCs, even the cheaper ones, will have the option to run this, so it's pretty damn cool. I basically choose a character I have no idea how to fight with. Alright, a quick test for Killer Instinct 2. Another game that has been requested a lot here. But the same story applies when it comes to Raspberry Pi and the Super Console X. So I think it's pretty damn cool to have this to the mini PC and Bodosera. Alright, so when you're looking at Thomas Wave, runs very well on this. With the Super Console X, we do have some mixed performance, but with the Raspberry Pi, it runs most of the time pretty damn good. But again, just a great thing to test out. Okay, we're sticking with MAME and let's test out some other things. To begin with, Tekken is another system that doesn't run on Super Console X and the Raspberry Pi, so I think that is so cool. Oh, she hit me. There goes my perfect. And of course she basically blocked it. Oh yeah. Alright, you get the point. Okay, so for the final MAME test, what I wanted to do is test out some Tekken Tag. This one is more demanding than all the previous one, but I just wanted to give you like a quick overview of which one will run fine. But also the Tekken Tag seems to be running very well on this. Man, this game is fast. Okay, so next up, I did have some issues with Sega Dreamcast on some, let's say, cheaper models I've reviewed. But this model is basically like running it so far I can see pretty damn good. So that is very well. But this is not like something really special. We do have like a lot of like a cheaper devices. Think about Super Console X or Raspberry Pi that runs Dreamcast pretty damn good. Ooh, small hiccup there. Alright, so next up we're going to try out some Sega Saturn. What I've noticed with some emulators, some will run very well on a certain kind of chipset. Sega Saturn is really demanding. I just want to check out Panzer Dragoon. What you can see over here, the emulation performance is pretty damn good. Despite this thing is a little bit more expensive and a little bit more powerful than the previous models or mini PCs I've tested, this thing seems to be running just fine. I can hear like a minor hiccup, but personally I don't really mind it. So especially if you're going to play some two-dimensional games, you will have like even better performance, of course. But I'm just going to be honest, I'm very surprised with this. Alright, so let's try out N64. I've tried it many times before on all kinds of, let's say, Android boxes, but as we have so many issues, and that's what I like about these Bulldozeria versions, that just Bulldozeria combination with the mini PC, we do get so many great performance. Try to hit him, try to hit him. Nope, didn't hit him. I'm just gonna be honest, like, playing this with a normal controller is like a freaking pain in the ass. But you get the point. Okay, so what I wanted to try out is some Wipeout on PlayStation Portable. PlayStation Portable is a system that is very hard to emulate on cheaper boxes. Think about Super Console X, Raspberry Pi. I did see some pretty good, let's say, overall performance. But especially PlayStation Portable is so difficult. God of War will always be a problem. You need to have like a lot of power for it. But when you look at most PlayStation Portable games, we do have like a very good support for this. So if you just want to enjoy on low resolutions, I think a mini PC like this is more than enough powerful. And of course the chipset is new. So this means, or newer than the other ones. Because if your chipset is too old, it has been any support with the emulator PPSSPP that it's basically running on. Alright, so let's push this thing to the maximum with PlayStation 2. So when it comes to PlayStation 2, we need to have like a lot of CPU power, and these older machines are not capable of running them. Here you can see like Tekken is more like a mid-range game that plays on almost like some basic emulation in combination with some okay CPUs, but it doesn't run at all here. This is absolutely unplayable. Just wanted to show you briefly. So this is absolutely the max. Alright, so next up let's try some GameCube. Yeah, GameCube is the same story like PlayStation 2. It's like too demanding for this tiny older CPU and GPU combination. Especially the CPU is not just powerful enough. You can see like it stutters like crazy. I can tell you like the intro is stuttering. And if you're going to play a little bit more, you will see that you got a little bit better performance. But in the end, gameplay is going to be pretty damn sucky. If you're even going to get to the freaking gameplay. Come on, man. Yeah. I have seen enough. I think you too. Wait for it, hear it for it, stuttering, F-Zero, yoo-hoo! And this is what I mean, like, no, absolutely unplayable.